Run the damned experiment. Get off your butt and try it. Don't take our word for it.
If you're in an organization and you look around and say, you know what, there's nobody really like advocating for anybody. It feels like we're adversarial and we're not on the same team. That is unfortunately too common.
Get out there and advocate for folks. Advocate for yourself. Advocate for your team members. Advocate for your boss. Become an advocacy czar and go out there and run that experiment.
The grass is always greener on the other side. And sometimes you don't know how good that leader, that team, that peer was until you've left for that greener pasture and you realize, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe I had it really good over there and I didn't know. I just got kind of comfortable with life. Of all
You
people,
got to step up your game, my friend. You're in with the big boys. You're in the big league now, son.
Bob decided to try and shush me like Dr. Evil.
And I know that really roused your cage, man. Entry music. Da, 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 da. It's the Bob and Josh show.
I'm sick of the lack of advocacy that comes my way. I'm always advocating for you. That's all I do. It's all about Bob. It's all about Bob. What can we do for Bob? Bob's the guy. But as the leader, it never. Whoa. That's how. Welcome to today's episode, everybody. You can see how things are starting off. They are certainly spicy. If you're not watching this, you should definitely go to YouTube and watch that last 30 seconds where Bob decided to try and shush me like Dr. Evil.
And I know that really roused your cage, man. I know it does. Even if you're laughing, like, is that what I saw? I'm gonna that's it.
Okay. So you had something to say, Robert?
I was shushing you so that I could agree with you, Maestro. That I have not. So if there's a hierarchy between us, and I would argue there's not, but if there was a hierarchy between us, then and you're the boss, then I have not been advocating sufficiently for you. Or, I'm appreciate you, genuflect to you.
I don't even know what
it's
that means.
It's like kneel in Catholic church.
Oh,
bend the knee. Look at your eyes. Bend the knee. Does that mean bend the knee, Bob? Yes.
Gosh. Okay, so listeners / viewers, the previous episode was about leaders advocating for their team. And as Bob and I were talking about this whole concept, Bob brought up the point that he said, you know what? I think he may even use these words. Damn it, Josh. There's not enough advocation in the opposite direction. Yep. So that's what today's about. Today is about teammates, team members, or maybe not, or maybe just you advocating for leaders within your organization. That's something that is relatively rare, and there's various reasons. We understand, but that's what today is about the importance of it, why you should do it, and potentially why it's not happening. So, Robert, the stage has been set for you.
I think when we were talking about it, and it was a good episode. It was a righteous discussion as we were talking about advocacy, support, appreciation being a downward thing, because we were talking about bosses and leadership and thinking of structure. But I think this shift is we're shifting it, and I don't even like the reciprocate up. I would say reciprocate, make it a 360-degree thing and include. So now all of us, including team members, have a responsibility, I think, to advocate for peers, to advocate for their bosses, to advocate, just in general. It's just, let's have this respectful advocacy. And if I don't see it from leaders down, at least in my walk, my journey, I see less of it at a team level. For whatever it's maybe so when we were talking about leaders, it was almost like the evil leaders don't advocate that. You need to, if you want to become a high performance leader, advocate. I get that. I don't know what's happening in the general community of team members or, the ecosystem, but we need to do a better job of that. And that includes advocating, like talking about your leader and saying, like Josh Anderson, everyone, Metacasters, I know you think that Josh Anderson is an inept leader, right? With a big skull and hats to cover it. But inside
Facts.
but inside that huge cranium is a brain and a heart of gold. And we wouldn't be the Metacast that we are today at all, bar none, without what Josh Anderson has done. And I'm thankful for that and I'm appreciative. And I want everyone to know that. It's not just the Bob show, it's the or whatever. And I was just role modeling like I think we should get into that 360-degree advocacy when it's appropriate. No fakery, no fake,
Yeah.
none of this BS faker. And there's snarkiness, there's plenty. None, filter that out. But when your heart is moved, then for some reason, and I think where it's weakest is going up. Josh, react to that. Anything?
I have about 3 different things that I think play a role in this. Number 1, the stage is set by the leader. We just covered that in the previous episode about setting the culture, establishing this is the thing that we
Yep.
do. We gave some tips and tricks about if that's not happening, you as a leader, this is how you can begin to create a culture where that's the norm. So step 1, that has to be a thing. If you're in an organization and you look around and say, you know what, there's nobody really like advocating for anybody. It feels like we're
Yep.
adversarial and we're not on the same team. That is unfortunately too common. And I found the biggest hurdle for that is that we live in an unfortunate world where not enough people have truly existed inside of a great team. So people, organizations are challenged to be better teammates, to be a better team, to do all of that. But there's a little bit of a learning curve there of, okay, cool. What does great really look like? Bob and I have tried to paint pictures of that throughout the years with the episodes that we have, but that's hurdle number 1 is people want to be good. People want to be great. But sometimes you're stuck in the spot where you're wandering trying to find your place. So Bob and I are here to tell you that this is a piece of a great team that if you are willing to advocate in all directions for your team, that's a foundational piece of you have the chance to be a pretty darn good team. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is you may have to be willing to be the first one out
Yeah.
there. You may have to be the one to take that first leap, that first bold
Yeah.
step of, you know what, I'm going to go to bat for somebody here. We are in a planning meeting or something like this, and someone is trying to speak up and trying to make a point, but no one's listening. You might need to be the person that just like, hey, wait a minute, let's stop here. Bob's trying to get us to recognize something, but I don't think it's happening. I don't think it's getting in our ears and into our brains to where we're actually valuing the words that are coming out. So you might have to be the person that starts that. That's an important thing. Somebody has to be the catalyst. So if you're listening to this episode, we're about 10-ish minutes in, that means you're like, oh, this is something that I could use. So if you're listening to this, you're probably the kind of person that's going to be willing to go make that step and start to help create and shape the culture that you desire to be a part of. The last point I'll make is, unfortunately, and I am guilty of this, the grass is always greener on the other side. And sometimes you don't know how good that leader, that team, that
Oh,
peer
yeah.
was until you've left for that greener pasture and you realize, ooh, wait a minute. Maybe I had it really good over there and I didn't know. I just got kind of comfortable with life when I should have really understood the truly exciting nature of the team that we had. And I didn't respect that. I didn't understand the value of it and I should have advocated for it. Maybe just even for myself. I'm like, hey, listen, dummy, look around. Like you're in a really great spot. Those are things that sometimes are hard to do. And like I said, I am guilty of this. I have done that plenty of times.
I'm wondering. So I was thinking, I plus one to everything you said, Josh. I'm wondering what the driving forces are. And I was noodling on a piece of paper, and I put down like ego, um, and then I was thinking of like competition. Like we have a competition based society. It seems, I either, my pay. I want to make more money than Josh Anderson. Now that's like Mount Everest, everyone, right? So I'm setting the bar, I'm setting the bar high, but I want to, and so I either win or I lose, right? I'm either better than Josh or I'm not. I think like it's a dog eat dog world came to mind. I either get an A or an F, and maybe it starts in high schools or schools where there's this competitive thing. So very rarely is it like truly team. Like I'm thinking if we're really in a team, then you want to, then the 360 sort of recognition, the 360 support falls from that. It's not, there is no I in team, or there's a little I in team, etc. And but there's still competition. Like Josh, you know more this better than I. There was competition at your position in football. So there's competition, but at some fundamental level, it comes up to the team, and then other people will recognize you. They will advocate for you. If you do, I'm sure that, like maybe a running back would, appreciate your block and would advocate for you or something like step out of normal. But I don't see that in technology or maybe in organizations as much. So I'm wondering what the impediment is. Is it ego? Is it the structure? Is it the mental structure? Is it this competitive? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
my fundamental belief is never having existed in that. Like I go back to scrum masters in that role. I undervalued that role until I had a really great scrum master smacking me in the face and I saw it and I understood, "Oh my gosh, this makes everything better." But I understood the role. I knew it. I was an agile coach. I served in scrum mastery type roles. So I understood the value of the role, but I had never been in a situation where I had a dedicated person in that role and they just absolutely crushed it. Once I saw that, I was like, oh, wait a minute. So that's the difference
Yep.
it makes. And I think there's that same hurdle for teams is you don't really understand how a truly great team is one of those situations where that rising tide lifts all
Yeah.
boats. Everybody gets better. Everybody's learning from everybody. And so your ability to achieve the things that you're competing with the world in, as Bob talked about, we're always going to compete. Like that's to me, that's one of those things that I like more than most people because I was raised in a world where that was a thing, but I was also raised in a world where we were competing, yet we all were pulling for the same
Right.
goal. So we all understood how our work, our improvement in our areas helped the team achieve the final goal. And there's often hurdles within the technology realm where the clarity of what that unifying goal is or isn't. So people can start pulling in different directions, trying to do the right thing, but they just don't understand what they're all running for. So to me, that's why, and I've said it dozens and dozens of times, it is the work in debugging teams is a fantastic tool to help people understand what it looks like to be a great teammate and understand how groups of people can work well, insanely well together. Because the unfortunate reality is you likely haven't been on a team where like, yeah, that was freaking awesome. Because if you've been on a team like that, you probably haven't left it.
It's true. I was thinking about role modeling. You said to this earlier, like you're going to have to step out, and that really it resonates with me as we're exploring this, because I do think part of it is role modeling on the part of leadership to set that tone, and sort of recognizing and advocating for everyone, and reminding themselves that that's important. I remember at my best companies in my best roles, influencing teams. uh, I was very intentional about advocating for folks. It wasn't just appreciating. So there was appreciating folks, which was thank you. Advocating for me was recognizing someone and trying to lift them up, in some way, promotion is an obvious thing, but giving them another opportunity, uh, helping them to see an opportunity when they're not seeing it. So just anything I can do, and and I'm a sort of a natural cheerleader. Well, it's not natural, but when I'm in the zone from a leadership point of view, I'm keeping my eye on advocacy and appreciations and my messaging to folks. And the point I'm trying to make is when I did that, it became infectious across the organization. It really, so, if I was doing it, it had a multiplication effect, and if I wasn't doing it, it affected negatively. Uh, so maybe the buck starts and stops with leaders setting the tone and then stepping back, and then the magic starts happening in a 360 way.
Yeah, one of the things that we were talking about before we hit the record button was um, that point exactly. Is this truly a leadership responsibility, or is it that teams need to advocate even if their leader isn't? And Bob, you're going down the path of kind of letting leaders off the hook about, hey, there's all this, and we're guilty of it too. All this talk about leaders aren't good enough, leaders need to be better, and we can go on and on. People are likely thinking that, saying that we've said those same things. The argument that I'll make is similar to the one I made last episode, is that it's hard to advocate for somebody that won't advocate for you, especially when you view that as that's part of their job.
Right.
Their job as a leader is to
Yep.
advocate for
Yep.
their team. So that makes it difficult. I understand that. I understand that that can be a situation where it's tough. But I don't believe that lets everybody here that's listening to or watching this, I don't think that lets you off the hook. Would it be ideal? Would it be perfect if your leader or boss was doing that? Absolutely. So you have a couple of choices. One, you can go try and find a boss that does that, or you can take advantage of the situation right now and try and create that culture and start to advocate for yourself, for your teammates, maybe even for your boss to start learning and growing and trying some new and different things. So you can sit there and complain and say, oh gosh, well, this is never going to happen because so and so isn't doing
Right.
their job. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. If that's your view, then you need to extract yourself out and find a place that feeds you the way you're looking to be fed, or you can try and change your current situation and address that and transform it into the thing you hope it could be.
As you were talking, I was also thinking maybe there's a corollary to what you said is, and it's hard to advocate for someone who won't advocate for themselves too.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that the leader who won't advocate for themselves, the team that won't advocate. So I think self advocacy. So part of this, just leader down view that we had last time. Now we're setting a culture of it. Well, it starts with advocating for yourself, I think. What do you think? We didn't talk about that.
The thing that came to my mind when you were talking through that was everybody just hit the pause button. Well, not the pause on the episode, but like mentally hit the pause button and think about a time when somebody advocated for you and somebody went to bat for you. What kind of emotions and feelings did that create inside of you? How did that change your trajectory as a teammate and employee in your career? I assume that's all pretty darn positive. So why would you not then do that for people you appreciate working
Yep.
with? I'm not saying you have to love them like they're your brother or sister or mother or father or family member, anything like that. But if you appreciate working with this person, why not be the person that makes them feel the way someone else made you feel? Hopefully, somebody in your life has done that to where you have that feeling, um, so that you understand the difference that can be made. So, be that person, drive that change, inspire that person, help them achieve those goals. It's not an expensive thing to do. Last I checked, it's free. And if you really believe in that person, there's not a lot of risk involved in it.
Part of this advocacy is advocating for yourself. I'm circling back. I'm not
Yeah.
disagreeing with you, Josh. I remember, like, you've advocated for me So Metacasters, historically, if you've listened to us, I undercharge to my value, and Josh has occasionally advocated to me. He's not advocated externally. He's talked to me and and sort of like had an advocacy. You need to do a better job of advocating for yourself, Bob Galen. And I'm
Yeah.
actually thinking that's a part of it is coaching to so part I'm extending the breadth a little bit. It's coaching people to advocate for themselves. And Josh knows after those conversations I go to my price list and something magical happens. There's an increase, there's an upward trend uh, almost every time we've had that conversation. And to me, he's talking to me about I'm not doing a good enough job in advocacy. So what I'm talking about is there's external advocacy for folks, and then there's what I would call coaching advocacy or peer-to-peer advocacy, where you just sit down with someone and say, and give them the confidence or give them some ideas around you're not doing a good enough job, and inspiring them to advocate for themselves, but they need that little bit of a jump start from you to do that. And I think that's part of it as well, in teams, particularly like team member to team member, peer to peer. And that combination of you advocating for me and me advocating, I think it's more powerful when I'm advocating for myself and other folks are advocating for me. I think it has a multiplicative effect. I know
Wow.
that was
That was,
really,
I got
I
worried,
almost, I
but
almost
you
didn't
nailed it.
deliver it. It was really hard.
Yeah. It definitely has a compounding effect.
Better
And
word. Yes.
somebody has to be like, also easier to
Yeah.
say. So I definitely went that path. Um, it it's like a snowball because there's likely something that you didn't know or you didn't notice that maybe you should have. Like for me with Bob, uh, I the very first time it hit me, Bob had helped us on a couple of different things, and we had paid him his fees. I didn't really know any better, and so then we started um, using other people because we had a team in Canada, so we were looking for somebody in Canada, and so they needed to be right
I
next to the
know, I
team,
know, I
Bob.
know. It's okay.
Relax. But I got the proposal from this person, and
I actually remember. Yes.
I was like, "Holy crap!" So I shopped around a little bit more. I was like, "Oh well, those are the rates." I'm like, "Wait a minute, this person is good without a doubt. This person, we hired them; they were good, they were effective, happy that we paid what we paid, and it was money well spent." Then I looked at Bob and I'm like, "Hold on a minute here." Like I realized something and it was important to me that I shared that with Bob. Like, hey, Bob, because pricing is one of those things that's hard. Salaries are one of those things that are hard. But when I found that out, I was like, Bob, I feel like we're kind of way off here. Like, did you know this? And so that was one of those things where I felt responsible for my buddy be like, hey, I got some information. I should share it with you. And so now when you have that information, you just likely didn't know that.
Yep.
Because if you had that, you probably would have done something
Yep.
different. So now you're aware of something that you haven't been aware of before. And so you start to recognize it, you start to see it, you start to be able to take action and do all those really positive things. So somebody has to be that first person that is willing to say, like, hey, wait a minute, I just figured something out, or I just learned something. Let me share it with you. And then that can be the spark that gets people off and running.
Can I invoice you like for those past events? Do you think like with
No, you can't, but you can potentially compensate me for the increased revenue that you've acquired over the years. I think that's probably the best way to work
So
the deal.
Metacasters, there was like an advocacy flip there in real time. So I don't know if there's any more to it that we're missing, Josh. I just wanted to get it. I think it's this not you move it from unidirectional to 360 directional, and really, and I like the external versus internal aspect that we uncovered. Are we missing something that was on your mind?
No, I think it really is that, just like we talked about, somebody has to point it
Yeah.
out. Somebody has to point out that, hey, here's information. You should be doing something different. this is the episode where we're doing that same thing for you. We are pointing it out to you, our listeners and viewers, that, hey, you should advocate more in all directions. So now the goal / hope is you've listened / watched to this, and you start to recognize areas where you should jump in and say something, or you should jump in, support something. It's really easy. It can be as simple as in your next
Yeah.
one-on-one,
Yeah.
talking with your boss, whoever, to say, you know what? I really enjoy working with Bob. Bob just helps us be successful in a handful of ways. He's enjoyable. I enjoy working with him. That's a huge piece. Second, he's pretty darn good at his job. So I just want you to know that. That's just a simple thing that you can do. You don't have to like stick your neck out or anything. There are people you like
Yep.
working with. Advocate for them. In your next one-on-one, simply say, hey, so and so, I just feel like I should say, I really enjoy working with Bob. Because you know what? He just makes us better. He makes me better. I feel like I do better when he's around. And that's pretty freaking awesome.
And oh, by the way, he's damned handsome too.
Oh,
So
well,
so
yeah.
it's like a threefer. I would
Yeah.
say yes, Josh. I'm gonna maybe try to land the episode with this and run the. So you're always action oriented in the Metacast, and I want to be action oriented. So you've listened to us for 30 minutes, Metacasters, and we've talked about a singular sort of focus item that can make a huge difference in the performance of your organization and your teams. So what I would say is run the damned experiment. Get off your butt and try it. Don't take our word for it. I mean, as I review, this is the advocacy, appreciations, positivity in 360s. That's been a core factor in the highest performing teams I've ever been a part of. And it's been fun to be a part of those teams. So it's
Absolutely.
a joy. I mean, that's a win. So yes, there's two old guys, one older and bigger headed than the other, but listen to us and run the experiment. What do you have to lose? Get out there and advocate for folks. Advocate for yourself. Advocate for your team members. Advocate for your boss. Get become an advocacy czar and go out there and run that experiment. And then, damn it, observe what's going on and what's going on around you. And I think you'll be amazed with the results.
Agreed. Get that fork out, Bob.
So, from beautiful downtown Cary, North Carolina,
And beautiful downtown Fuquay Arena, North
and it is
Carolina.
beautiful. It's a beautiful fall day.
It
I'm
is.
Bob Galen.
Yeah. And I'm Josh
Jake,
Anderson. And
take care,
Bake.
y'all.